Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mavs Film Room Live. We are coming at you almost midnight. It's 11:42 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. The Dallas Mavericks just lost to the Knicks 113 to 110. In a little bit of a nail biter, D'Angelo Russell and Naji Marshall both tallied 23 points. Max Christie tallied 15 and 7 rebounds, and Klay Thompson followed up with 13 points in probably his best shooting night of the season thus far, one of his best. And Jaden Hardy also brought in 11 points, I believe. Yes, 11 points. I am joined by, as always, by my co-host Vinay Chimity. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, buddy.
It's kind
How
of
are you,
ridiculous that you pronounced it wrong.
Vinance Chemity? Vinance.
It's okay. Just move on. We'll talk about it after. That's kind
um,
of ridiculous.
you're gonna be like AD, showing me an iPad in the middle of a timeout, being like pointing out how to actually say your name. Um, yeah, what did you see tonight? I know that we have been rooting quite publicly for the Mavericks to lose as many games as possible for draft positioning. But this was a pretty competitive game. I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. For me, like, I'm happy if it's a win-win for me, like I told you. Like, if the team wins, then I'm happy for the players. And if they lose, then it's closer to the draft pick, which I think you and I know that's where they're kind of headed towards. And I feel like the organization, especially with all the reporting today that Tim McMahon did, even Shams Charania kind of talked about it a little bit, I believe, about how the organization is kind of pivoting towards the draft pick and they're going to field out offers for Anthony Davis, and that's going to be the next pivot as they kind of start this team build around Cooper. But in terms of the game today, first half was a fucking disgrace to what James Naismith created when he created basketball. That was horrible offensive basketball. So many missed threes, so many missed shots, and yeah, the Mavericks actually made a lot of threes, but the Knicks kind of I don't know missed a lot. And overall, besides the 3-point shot making, the Mavericks just couldn't really get into the rim and like create anything other than just like shooting threes. It was honestly a super boring watch. First half, second half was pretty fun with D'Lo cooking a little bit. The ending, which I guess we'll talk about here, was controversial, and I mean honestly, the Mavericks got hosed on that call. But what did you see from the game?
The defense on the perimeter has just gotten so much better. I know at the beginning of the season I was very bombastic, saying that these guys don't even look like an NBA team on offense, and that their defense was pretty piss poor for a team that supposedly on paper should pride itself on its defensive identity. Tonight they were significantly better. I'll give them credit. Max Christie has been phenomenal. He had a tough first half, but in the second half he really stayed engaged, and that's that on top of his willingness to shoot the ball, and D'Lo having one of his two great games of this season so far, really pulled us through the line. Najee Marshall is maybe one of my favorite non-star Mavericks like ever, just for what he's done in a Mavs uniform these past 2 seasons. It's a shame, what has happened to the team around him, but he also had a great night tonight. Um, all of that being said, I mean, Jaden Hardy was not great defensively, but he stayed engaged. I think that's the bigger thing is I can see the little breadcrumbs of an actual like top 10 NBA defense in this team. And it's not that they don't have the personnel, obviously. It's just they weren't playing like it. And in these last few games, I think they've really
I mean, right
started to
now they're
get up
top
the play.
five.
Really?
Yep,
In what defensive rating?
and
Or
defensive rating. I think they've been
okay,
top five for a couple weeks now.
okay.
Um, Overall, I mean, their defense is good for sure. I'm still kind of skeptical about how it holds up over the whole season just because they give up so many open threes. And I feel like a lot of it is based on if the opponent is hot or cold that night. And tonight, obviously, the Knicks were cold. I like some of the stuff that they're doing today with trapping Brunson and forcing other guys to shoot, especially when you have guys that can't really shoot like Josh Hart. So, I mean, I like the defensive strategy overall during this game. So defense has been better than even I expected. I know people had like really high expectations for the defense and honestly like thought we were going to be too slow at the point of attack. Cooper's honestly been like even better. I know everyone billed Cooper to be like the sick defender, but I was a little skeptical, I guess, of him being able to clamp all these like guards, and he's been
As
able to clamp whoever.
as was I,
Clamp.
honestly. He's been the Mavericks' best
I
point of
thought his
or
best like
singular
defensive fit
defender.
was be like I thought his best defensive fit would be kind of like what AD's role is like as like a corner shot blocker type guy. But I mean, he's answered the bell on that. I mean, he's having I know people I mean, people are super early to judge like he's a bust based off the first 2 weeks, which is ridiculous to anyone that like knows the sport. But like I think this rookie of the year, whatever, I know it's like super early and it'll even itself out at the end. But like just off of his defensive impact and where the Mavs are defensively, I know he didn't play tonight, but where they are defensive rating wise, like I don't think he's getting enough credit for that. He's the best
He's
defender on
not
a top five defense as an 18-year-old. Like that's ridiculous to me.
the youngest player in the league being the best defender on a top five defense. Yeah, that's crazy. And honestly, the defense has been a large part of why they have stayed in some of these games to make them close enough. Because really, their offense is so. I mean, the Mavs have been highly dependent on threes since before Luka Doncic wore uh, the blue, royal, or navy. But I've never really felt it as much as tonight, and maybe it's just because D'Angelo Russell is such a hit or miss player for me. But tonight was one of those nights, especially in the first half, and especially very early on in the game, where they were hitting a couple shots for stretches, and that really helped. Klay did not play like his earliest season self, you know. I don't know what it is, but these guys are slowly kind of starting to shape and or assemble, let's say. And I can see like a first round exit in a team with everyone healthy. I know that there has been, and you nodded, you gave a nod to it, Vinay. So let's just address it. Mark Cuban's comments to McMahon's article today. Mark Stein's reporting as of the last week, indicating that the Mavericks are, I will say, pivoting to the Cooper Flag era. Right. And I mean, I think we here have been saying that since May, but I seeing that they have kind of understood where they are. Um, the real question is how soon does AD get back and when is he going to be in shape? Um, and do you think he will ever get back to like the late or the early 2020s AD in terms of his impact as like a wing big hybrid?
I mean, honestly, man, like it's not even that long ago where Anthony Davis at the beginning of last season with the Lakers before the trade, like he was playing at like I'm not gonna say top five level, but right around that area, like both ends of the court. Like he wasn't shooting as well as he was in the bubble, and I think he had like an early season like shooting splurge where he was shooting well early, like with JJ Redick, and that was a whole marketing spiel about how JJ Redick was going to feel fix Anthony Davis's shot, and that never happened. But I mean, it's not that long ago that he was a dominant force, but ever since he's been in Dallas, besides that Mickey Mouse like three quarters against the Rockets in his debut. We haven't, even when he's played, that's the annoying part. Like, yes, Anthony Davis misses games on the other teams he's been on, like that's him. But like when he's on the court, we see like a good version of Anthony Davis for the most part. When he's been on the court for the Mavericks for the most part since he's been traded here, besides like one game against the Hawks, one game against the Grizzlies in the play-in where he wasn't even that good defensively. I mean, we really haven't seen like like any form of a good Anthony Davis.
Those, I mean, that
Even like
game against the Rockets.
Even the Anthony Davis haters would have to admit like he is better than what he's shown in a Mavericks jersey.
Oh, absolutely. And this is why there's a lot of us that put our thoughts on the Mavs out, especially as of late. I think when healthy, I mean, if you get AD back to like 253 or, underneath 260, let's say, um,
You got the
and
scale out.
and you kind of have a more reasonable guard rotation. I can see him really playing his way into like two unprotected first round picks and maybe even a third protected pick in there plus some really impact role players and guards, as well as obviously you're going to take on a bad contract because of how big AD's contract is. But if he can get back to AD as we know that he can be, as just watching basketball
I
the
don't
last
even need
couple of
early
years.
2020. I don't need even early 2020s bubble AD. Give me like the Anthony Davis from like a year ago. But that's
Literally,
probably not. I don't know. That might not even be possible anymore either because like the toll that these latest injuries have taken on him, and now this latest with the calf strain, it's hard to. I don't know. I guess it's hard to
the
tell until he gets back
goggles
on the court.
the
Yeah,
goggles
all
really,
of it.
it's like a
And
different
honestly, like
era in his career, it seems like. And I think that is the fear, that is the reason why people are gonna kind of want to see what he can offer the team when he's healthy. And that's why him being healthy is so important for a team trying to figure out how to move forward with Cooper Flag as the face of the franchise.
yeah, I mean, look for me, like if he's ready to go like tomorrow, like cleared by the actual Mavs doctors, not like just Anthony Davis's doctors, I would like let him go out there. I don't believe in the whole like don't let him play until you trade him thing. Like I don't think you're going to get maximize the value there. I understand the concern with if you let him play, he might get hurt again. But I mean, I think you got to try to get the trade value a little bit higher than what it is right now.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, you would definitely be taking a loss in general by trading off of AD, and I just don't think that it's smart. I mean, this team has not had an extended amount to play with each other, and I know that that's not like a
Extended
fair
amount or like any amount, like
any amount.
whatsoever.
Yeah, they haven't really had any amount of time together healthy, and I'm not counting AD at the beginning of the season because when he's anywhere close to 270 pounds, he looks like a completely different
That
player.
wasn't, yeah. I mean,
Like I'm not expecting him to ever shoot like near 30% again, like above 30%, especially on jump shots. But if he can have that like energy and impact on defense, but also just aggressiveness on offense that he had, like you said, just last year or 2 years ago, that would do wonders not only for this team's hopes to compete, but for the return that you could inevitably get from him. And I do applaud the Mavericks, reportedly, allegedly, for realizing that that is the next obvious move to make. It is smart to wait until he's healthy. I think ownership has done a good job of. I don't want to give them too much credit, but like holding him out even when he and Nico, who was the GM at the time, say that he's healthy is the smart thing to do. Keep him in until he's healthy. Let him get an extended stretch in, and then you're actually selling high on AD theoretically. Like it's not even unrealistic.
yeah, I mean, he could have a couple, just a nice stretch of play, and that's all you need for a contender. Golden State might be fed up with what they're dealing with. You never know. Like some team might just panic in February. But let me ask you this: if
Sure.
you don't get like a good trade, are you at like take best available offer at trade deadline for Anthony Davis, or are you waiting into the offseason?
Uh, I am willing. If I don't get a great offer, I'm willing to wait until the off season. The only reason being is then like when you get closer to draft position and getting sorted out, there's a whole other host of trades that you can make. Assuming that the Mavs don't like become some crazy competitive team anytime soon, you're still gonna have a decent draft pick this year, and you can find a way to get another one in the off season, especially just because I think in the off season in general, players with AD's injury history will just get more, and in general, players just get more in the off season.
That's why they
I'm
should have done it. They should have done it like in May. I mean, but it's
Everything
I,
that has happened in the last 2 weeks in the Mavericks world should have happened in May. And we are kind of, I mean they can do all of the puff pieces, or not, I guess it wasn't a puff piece. You can do all of like the character assessment of Patrick Dumont and do all of this PR, but at the end of the day, the fact that this is happening in the middle of the season and it's kind of hanging over Cooper Flag's incredible rookie season is a pretty huge deal. That being said, I am hopeful, as long as knock on wood, Anthony Davis ends the season healthier than he is right now, I think the Mavericks are in a good position to get draft capital as well as a player on the level of a Kobe White or a guy like Jaden Ivey, although I don't think that deal inevitably happens um, for one reason or another.
I
And
can't even like wrap my head around like a fake Anthony Davis trade. I've seen literally so many. I've
yeah,
seen some I like. I've seen some that are like, what the fuck? But for the most part, like, I don't know. I can't do the whole fake Anthony Davis trade routine. It literally is going to make my mind blow up.
I don't either,
Ah, but
which is
I'm
why
on the side of trading him.
I think we all are. But I think anyone who knows how teams are built nowadays knows that he's the eminent guy to trade. The question of Kyrie, I mean, we understand this, but I'll say this for the people watching right now or listening later. Um, Kyrie coming back late and not necessarily being uh, completely in form is the reason why this team is basically at best a first round exit. Like, there is no way that they can just exceed all of our expectations, be competitive, and find themselves in the Western Conference Finals with Kyrie Irving only having like a month and a half to really play his way into competitive shape. So that is why the window is pretty much closed and pivoting is smart. But I think keeping Kyrie is fine because his contract, I think, even extended, and if you just keep paying him the max that he wants, which I don't think he'll get in future deals, would be around 40 million. AD is currently sitting around 60, and his contract could get to around 70, which is why trading him is really the first domino that has to fall. And on top of that, Kyrie is not that AD isn't a great vet. AD there was a moment in, I think, the second quarter where Lively got a foul on a layup attempt by Karl Anthony Towns, and then the Mavericks called a timeout or the Knicks called a timeout, and Lively goes to the bench, and AD has like a tablet. I'm assuming that had something to do with basketball, because if it didn't, that would be very weird. But all of that is an indication that the chemistry is good. That guys are looking at things, that the best players on the court are trying to help the younger ones, and trying
I
to
think
just
that,
get
yeah,
everyone on the same page. So I think both of them are good vets, but I think you have to trade AD for many more reasons, but you need to keep one of them because the Mavericks do not have their own picks for the next 5 years almost, right? Or 4 years.
yeah.
So they have to try to be as competitive as possible. I think Kyrie next year stands a hell of a lot better chance of making a huge impact on the Mavericks' ability to compete, especially going into the playoffs with a full off season and having played a little bit the earlier season.
Yeah, no, I definitely want Kyrie to stay around. It's definitely one of those things that you obviously have to gauge what he's feeling. Like, does he want to go to a contender? Is he cool with this year maybe being a gap year? And also the other question is like, if he's ready to go, like, let's say January, cleared, everyone's like he's good to go. He could play in like let's say January. Do you let him? Obviously, Kyrie's not going to want to sit out because he only has so many basketball games left in his career. Like he's going to want to play as soon as he's cleared to play. What do you do there? You just let him play and just kind of like it doesn't.
Early on, he'll be on a minutes restriction. That's the MO of this front office and what the training staff wants, and that's par for the course in this league. But I think you have to play him. You might be winning games even with him not in his
Yeah, I
peak
agree.
form, but you have to play him. I mean, there's no use in making a player of his caliber unhappy, especially assuming that the Mavericks have traded Anthony Davis by the trade deadline. That would be an indication that they would be a little more competitive, because I do think that this team, just without AD as they currently are, and with like a Kobe White, would just be better because you wouldn't be relying on D'Angelo Russell to have a great game in order to be competitive, or just shoot your way into the game again when you get down. And tonight we didn't really see them get down all that much, but that is something that will inevitably happen. And Jay has talked about it a lot. But you don't want to be trading twos for threes in this league because you will find yourself out of games way earlier. The Mavericks have been lucky and uh, yeah, they have been lucky to stay in games in a lot of these cases. Um, and I expect that to happen a lot more if Anthony Davis is traded for guard depth or more shooting. Um, so yeah, it's a tough tightrope because, and this really goes to my next question. We have been talking about how important this next draft pick is for the Dallas Mavericks for the next 5 years in building your roster. We know what we want. We want a top 3 pick again, right? That would really change the ceiling of this franchise for the next 5 to 10 years. But what do you realistically see as happening?
So the thing is, like, even if the Mavericks were to, even if this scenario is not going to happen, but even if they were to tell Kyrie and Anthony Davis to not come back this season and they both obliged and understood, the Mavericks still would not be bad enough to be as bad as the Wizards, the Nets, probably the Kings, probably the Pelicans. Those teams, I just don't see the Mavericks catching in badness. Like the team plays too hard on nights like tonight to lose that many games. And there's honestly too much talent. If guys, I mean, at some point, maybe they get healthy and they all play together, and that team is not this record bad. It's like I think like a playoff, I don't know, fringe playoff team caliber if everyone was healthy and got to play 82 games and like an injuries off 2K simulation. So, what was your question?
Realistically, where do you think this team is next offseason?
Oh, okay. I think they're gonna enter draft lottery night at around like 6 to 8, and then we hope for the best.
We are joined by our co-host of many years, Fazil Ahmed. Fazil, welcome in. You
Hey,
were
what's up?
you were watching this game as well. We are currently talking about where we realistically think that this team is going to be in the offseason. Draft positioning, whether AD is traded by the deadline or not. Um, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I'm gonna jump right in with my take on that, which I guess good thing I read all the conflicting comments from our various sources today, but um, I think trying to parse what information was given out, like as best as I can. Basically, if AD can come back, fully cleared by the training staff and play a healthy stretch of games like relatively soon in time for the trade deadline. I think he will get traded, especially if he shows off, something good. In terms of like who wants to keep him on the team, who wants to let him go. I think more influential people in the front office, I should say, want him gone. Only Mark Cuban has said anything about like keeping him this season, and that might just be, CYA, cover your ass. But if he's, if he can't stay healthy, if it's going to be another like one of those seasons for him, yeah, sure, I could see him finishing out the season in Dallas, and then maybe we can revisit this in the off season, or like there could be a trade for him next season. But like, I don't know. That's my read on it. I do think that um, it's not the most outlandish thing, for him to be healthy. Like if he gets a lot of time to rest and play some good games, all that matters after that is just like finding that one team that'll bite.
I think there's more than one team that'll bite. What you missed is Vinay and I kind of started off by talking about how good can Anthony Davis realistically be if he's given the opportunity to get healthy, get himself back into shape. I know he's wearing his goggles, he had his cornea detached in the middle of the off season, so there are things that have happened. But if we see him, playing at his 253 or whatever, um, especially because the offense has looked significantly better as the year has gone on, even guys that were not shooting well, and the defense has gotten significantly better. I can see him really showing off because Anthony Davis is actually good at basketball. Like, yeah, he doesn't fit the construction of this team, and I wouldn't want to build a roster around him. I don't think any of us really would, out of like everybody in the league. But I think there are multiple guys that would would go for him. I don't think he is nearly as untradeable in terms of his skill as, let's say, a Porzingis, just because he plays better than Porzingis played at that time. Porzingis' issue was he was not able to contribute to a playoff team even when plays were being run for him. And AD is not that type of guy. He's still going to give you an easy 20 and 10, right? And those aren't empty stats. Especially right now, the Mavs are being competitive. If he's healthy and you see him play some more games, like an extended stretch, like you said, yeah, I can definitely see him getting traded this season. I think every indication from the reporting says that that's the probability. That being said, I think it would be the smartest thing. I think he should honestly have been traded in the offseason. But I'll be so honest with y'all. I think that he hurts the spacing enough to where we will lose more games the more he plays. Right. Which is why I'm really like, wait until the offseason, get 3 picks, 4 picks, 1 or 2 of them are
So
protected.
you're saying keep Anthony Davis healthy on the court to have the team worse for the draft?
Literally, yes. And the reason is also because as soon as you trade Anthony Davis for guards, like if you bring Kobe White onto this team, they would have won 2 more games already. Like really, the turnovers are the biggest issue that has completely kept them out of games. That and their shooting has just been awful. As soon as you bring a competent guard into this lineup, you're not dependent on D'Lo just having a great shooting night in order to be competitive against every team in the league. So like actually the stupidity of the construction is what is helping the Mavericks organically tank. Keep feeding this idea that, oh, they can be competitive if you keep AD. No, it's not because he's bad at basketball. It's just he's not the engine of the team. He's not the offensive engine. That's Cooper Flag. And yeah, that he's expendable. Yes, you should want to trade him, but I don't know if you're going to get the deal that you want. Like Fazal, what you were saying,
Probably
like,
not right now.
You're depending on him having a healthy stretch, and I don't think that is probable. I think he will be in the lineup, might get like some little injury, come out of the game with like God forbid another strain, but like lower leg. I think he's had some lower back stuff as a Laker. There's just things that will inevitably come up. So waiting until the offseason, you're going to get a better haul for him. I really don't even think there's been reporting that says that Anthony Davis was shopped around this offseason, right? And if he was, maybe it's just a little bit to see how much draft capital you could get.
There's no way he was.
Yeah, I don't think that Nico would do that as well, because if you read Tim McMahon's article today, Nico Harrison reportedly, allegedly from unnamed sources within the front office, had basically created a wall or a fence between him and ownership on a lot of this information, and would only report directly when he wanted some specific thing. So yeah, I'm not sure if he wasn't given the directive by anyone above him, I don't think he would have been shopping around Anthony Davis this offseason. So they probably just shopped him around right now and was like, oh, we're not getting anywhere near what we would need to get for Anthony Davis, so we're going to try to stay competitive. I'm not going to read into what Mark Cuban says because it's fucking Mark Cuban. Okay? Like, Here's
the annoying part about that. Like he's just saying that maybe to like create some sort of leverage in a situation where the Mavericks have 0 leverage in Anthony Davis trade talks. What annoys me though is he's just like, he's crept his way back into the team, is not going to be back to what he was in terms of being like a vocal voice, and just kind of like, this team has been dysfunctional for years, dating back to before Nico Harrison was here. The biggest reason for all this dysfunction in the Mavericks franchise, from front office stuff to other stuff that I'm not going to get into on this podcast because it's probably not the safe space, but the common denominator has been Mark Cuban this whole time. And now he's going to creep his way back into this Dumont cabinet, is what they're calling it, and have some sort of influence into this stuff. And I just don't like it at all. All of it is like, it's just stinky. It's just dysfunctional and stinky.
It's just 2 guys who are very prideful. Not one of them is no longer employed for the Mavericks, but a guy who is very prideful and egotistic and a little bit narcissistic hired a guy. Did Vinay freeze? Did we all freeze? I think OBS might have. I don't know if. I think stream might have glitched because there is no audio coming out right now. Can one of y'all check? This is so weird. Zoom meeting. Okay. Well, I don't think you've gotten to the present. It's like there's a delay. On my screen, it shows itself as frozen, and there is no audio other than my mic audio coming out. We could. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. There we go. We are live again. And yeah, everything's working. Yeah, it's just it's disheartening that the sideshow that the Mavericks are for very, I don't want to say narcissistic, but egotistical men wanting, egotistical, incompetent men really searching for the spotlight, just love the Mavericks for some reason, and in general love Dallas sports. But I don't want, this is really on Patrick Dumont. Like he would have to like surprise me significantly for me to be confident in his ability to not defer to Mark Cuban at times, just because, you know, tough decisions are never easy, and Shaq and all of these various idiotic things that he has done. That being said, Mark Cuban has no title with the franchise. So I'm cautiously optimistic that the things that he specifically thinks are not going to become the directives that, let's say, Coach Kidd has to hear, right? So there will be something in between there. The real question is, you know, is this just going to be the same dysfunctional culture? Like there has been this whole push, even the fact that Jason Kidd has been named by any reports as a possible GM hire, to me is a fucking catastrophe waiting to happen. And it's not even that I think Jason Kidd would necessarily be bad at the job. I mean, Nico Harrison was certainly, you can't get worse than that. But like, I would not hire him. If I was Patrick Dumont and I had just put $3 billion, well, my mother-in-law had just put in $3 billion to this franchise, and I just traded away one of like the top maybe 10, 15 best players in NBA history for Anthony Davis, I probably wouldn't hire Jason Kidd as my GM, and I hope that they don't. But in all likelihood, they will. They will.
You think they're going to hire Jason Kidd?
I don't think it'll be Jason Kidd necessarily, but I think I would put the money on it being either Dennis Lindsey or Jason Kidd right now. Like I would say,
I feel like it's going to be Dennis Lindsey. I'm hoping that, I don't know how it's going to go, but I hope Dumont does like an actual, you know, front office GM search and exhaustive hiring process for the first time for the Mavericks since I don't even know when.
Exactly. I mean, if you're, Patrick Dumont is not a basketball guy. Okay. So don't lean, Mark Cuban being at the table would have been good in February because he would have been like, you're a fucking idiot. And then Patrick Dumont would be like, oh, my billionaire friend says that this trade is idiotic, so I shouldn't do it. Right? So like, yes, it's 9 months too late to have Mark Cuban at the table.
That's the only thing you need him there for.
But you
like
don't
for
want,
the obvious,
do we
for
want
the
Dennis
obvious
Lindsey
fucking
again?
shit.
Do we want Dennis Lindsey again, knowing that that is
you know
like
what?
the
You know what?
path
I think
of
Dennis
least
Lindsey,
resistance for this front
Dennis
office?
Lindsey seems like a good GM. He seems like a good GM, but I almost don't want him because it's just like a symptom of like Cuban being back involved with the franchise. And I'm telling you, man, like the biggest reason there's been dysfunction in the Mavericks organization is no other person besides Mark Cuban. All these people, Nico Harrison, Haralabob, doesn't matter who you bring in, bring out. The biggest denominator for Mavericks dysfunction going back a decade plus now is Mark Cuban.
Well over a decade plus, frankly. Um, yeah, it's. I don't really want to talk about Mark Cuban too much on a Mavs podcast. He owns 27% of this team, I think, still. So I don't want him to get 27% of our runtime. But it is important to bring up that like you're not going to build something truly spectacular in the future with the usual suspects. I don't care how many people in the front office say that they liked working with Dennis Lindsey. I don't care about what reports Tim McMahon or whoever brings up about Dennis Lindsey's time as a special advisor to the Dallas Mavericks while Nico Harrison was GM. I don't care. Okay, like yes, I think he was in charge when PJ Washington was and Daniel Gafford were traded here. Is that true?
Yeah, he
Yes,
was here
Dennis Lindsey
for
was.
Okay. That
the
means that
finals
that
run.
means he was also here when Nico Harrison wanted to trade 2 first round picks for Kyle fucking Kuzma. So my point is this, just because you can associate somebody with certain good decisions and things worked out does not mean that they are smart decisions, right? So bringing back Dennis Lindsey is not the way to go. You need to build this franchise into the future, which means you need to find somebody new, take your time. You don't need anyone other than Matt Riccardi and Michael Finley right now, right? Just take your time with all of it, right? AD, yes, is going to be what, 33 soon, right? Next year. Um, that is, you want to move off of him, but I do think that you will get a better deal in the offseason than you will get right now. So that being said, really the only question is lottery positioning. And so Fossil, to pose before we kind of got cut off, we were talking about what what the realistic place that this team is going to be in the offseason, or what place will the Mavs be in this offseason realistically. You talked about trading AD. You think that it's possible by the trade deadline, or probable by the trade deadline, by the way everyone's talking. But where do you think the Mavericks are in the draft?
Depends on, to me, like even more than AD coming back or how much he's able to play. It depends on what there was a report about Kyrie today where um was it today or yesterday? There are two actually. One was where somebody said a source close to him was like, if it was the playoffs, he could play right now, but since it's the regular season, he's taking his time to come back. And then the second one, which I believe was from this morning, was saying, yeah, he's on track to return this season, but there are other factors besides maybe what's going on, like with his health, that could prevent him from returning this season. And I thought that was interesting. So, like, does he have an implicit agreement maybe to sit out for the entire year and continue rehabbing and secure the Mavs draft pick for this summer and make it as good as possible? Or is it just like, or some other shit's going down? I don't know exactly what, but if Kyrie doesn't play or he barely plays at all for the Mavs this year, I'm willing to say we'll have a top 10 draft pick. I don't think it's going to be top five, honestly, because of how bad the very bottom of the league has been and the fact that the Mavs are picking it up ever so slightly. I think it probably is going to be in that, I don't know, 6 to 8 range. If plus like the way they've been playing is about the same way they'll play the rest of the season. If there's no like jumps after that, I think that's a reasonable expectation. But of course, if AD comes back, if Kyrie comes back, and they're both healthy for good stretches of time, and they're playing well, then even at, like best case scenario, I can see us being a play-in team, and that I don't want that, but I think that's the max. And I don't even know if we'd make the playoffs, but I also doubt that. But just
Gee, I sure fucking hope we don't.
yeah, yeah. I
All of
mean,
this sounds terrifying to me. Every single
it
time the
does,
plan is
huh?
brought up, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Dude, it's scary how close the play-in standings are. Like the Mavericks are like, I mean, entering tonight, game and a half behind. I want to say Portland or Utah for that 10th spot. I think Utah for that 10th spot. Like, I mean, a lot of these teams are. I think a lot of these teams at the end of the season, especially, are gonna like not want to make the play-in, get better lottery odds, and
We've seen
it's
that
gonna be.
as of late.
We honestly, as a whole NBA, we have to hope the Clippers somehow just like make the play-in and make the playoffs
Oh,
because
please, God.
The Thunder don't need a lottery pick. So
No.
like, yeah.
Yeah, the Mavericks need to do a better job of tanking in my mind, and like stealthily tanking. I don't expect anyone in the organization to really bring it up because they can get fined. But in my mind,
But what
they
can they do?
play Anthony Davis, play D'Angelo Russell, keep Kyrie Irving out. I didn't even know that was a possibility. If
You
Kyrie,
can't play Anthony Davis while he's hurt.
well, no, play Anthony Davis when he's healthy, obviously. But
Uh,
like playing Anthony Davis when he's healthy and just like playing what we've seen so far is still not going to be 500 in the NBA. I'm sorry. They just shoot so horribly. Like Klay Thompson could.
this Friday versus the Pelicans, the type of game the Mavericks are gonna win. You know that they're gonna win.
Okay, them winning a game though is not. That's not telling me that they're going to be 500, dude. Really,
No, I didn't
they're
say
like
not talking about 500.
I know that you're not saying that,
I
but
didn't
like
say that.
I think they're a Klay Thompson trade away from like really being one of the definitely like right out of the play-in spot, like maybe staying around 10, 11, right? And
If they traded him and got him off the team,
yes, it would
they
be
would be
difficult.
better.
That would be better. Okay, fair enough.
Is
Because
that what you're
Max,
saying? What are
no,
you saying?
I'm saying that their shooting would probably get worse because unless they were trading for a good player, which I don't really see happening because Klay Thompson earns like $16 million this year and has not been playing that great. So you would probably be taking on a bad contract, which means that you would get worse in the interim. Because Klay Thompson did play well tonight and he has looked more like himself lately. Right. So like it's going to be like you need to find ways to stealthily decrease your ability to compete in these games because they have been competing very well as of late. And
Yeah, they're losing a bunch of close games. It's not like they're getting blown out in all these games. Some of
but
these
that
games,
scares
yes,
the
but not.
shit out of me. Like I love watching a winning team, but like knowing where the draft capital for this franchise is, I'm like, you have to lose. Like it's for the best. It's for the
just
best
tough
for this
because
franchise.
players and coaches aren't going to be doing that, especially this early.
Well,
And players
definitely
never
not this early.
players never do it anyway. Period. You can do different lineup stuff like the Mavericks, especially like I think the year before Luka, they were doing some weird stuff. With like I don't even remember. I think Salah Mejri was shooting threes one year.
Yes,
Uh,
he was.
but like that can only happen like late in a season. You can't do it in November,
No,
December.
exactly. But that's why, you got to move some of these pieces, right? Like you got to move some of these guys, and the smartest deals would be to flip guys for possible draft compensation, or guys who are not that competitive, or maybe not that competitive, but guys who aren't necessarily like a shooter, or like a playmaking guard. Like not somebody who will help you win games now, but somebody who could help you win games in the future.
It's just disheartening because there's so many horrific teams this year.
Six
And I
to
would say like maybe the Mavericks are bad, especially right now when they don't have their guys. But there's like a level of bad that these other teams have that they can't get to, which is I guess a good thing in the short term if you like watching somewhat competitive basketball. But if you're trying to get, I guess, the top pick odds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like tonight the refs screwed them. How often is that going to happen this season if they get this close? Like I don't wager it happens every night. So I mean, you can say 6 to 8 is good enough. I disagree. The
I don't,
seal
yeah.
6 to 8 is good. I don't think it's good enough. It's not. If you were drafting 6 to 8 next year and then you were drafting 6 to 8 the year after that, even though it's a weak draft, or like you drafted 15 next year and then you draft again in the top 10 in 2028, that would still be better than having like a mid to late lottery pick. I'm sorry. Like in this draft, the ceiling of your team is raised by that top 4 or 5, especially that top 3. And if the Mavericks can't secure the bag this season, I mean,
They could still get a really good player in that top 8, but I get what you're saying for sure.
and who knows, the lottery balls could go their way again. It's improbable considering, they had such a low chance last season. But I believe for the top or for the worst 5 teams in the league record wise, the percentage chance is relatively flat, right?
Yeah.
So as you don't have to be the worst team in the league, and I would rather the Mavericks not be the worst team in the league because Cooper Flag is a winner and he should be able to compete. They should be able to win games, right? They do have a better roster than the Washington Wizards, or I don't know who else is in that conversation, really. The Jazz.
The
Who's
Pacers,
the
the Jazz
Pacers?
are a little bit ahead. Wizards,
Nets.
Pacers, Nets,
Right. Like
Pelicans, but they don't
I
have their pick.
I think that one of those teams will be better than the Mavs. Really, the Clippers need to be in the playoffs for everyone's best interests, but like I
They're not
think that
contributing to that.
they're not. But the Mavericks don't need to like out and out tank to lose games. I think you can like you don't have to be like 20-60 to get a top 5 pick in this draft realistically.
Hey, every game today or Friday's game in November counts the same as a game in April in terms of the standings. So if you're in full tank watch, obviously you want the guys, I guess, to have fun or whatever. Have fun, compete, play hard,
Yeah,
but hopefully
hustle,
they
show
take.
heart.
Hopefully, I mean, I will actually. I mean, tonight, like, I don't know, man. You sound like a fucking supervillain if you say like you're not that mad if the team loses, but like everyone today, like Jay's like I'm sad. Like, I it sucks they got host for sure, but it's like, oh, dang it. Oh man, sucks.
Yeah, I get it. I get it for everyone on the floor who plays for this team. Like, you never want to lose games intentionally. There's a lot of good players. There's a lot of great players on this squad. But in all reality, the franchise has to do what's best for the franchise. This is why it's on the interim GMs in order to steer the ship in the right direction. If you start making moves that make it harder to compete, like now, right? But not like something devastating, right? Keep D'Angelo Russell because he's not going to play like this that often. Um, and
No, 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 no. Disagree. If you get a trade offer for D'Angelo Russell, I will drive him to the airport myself because you have him under contract. He's under contract for next year for a player option. Like,
oh
no, I
shit,
don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nope.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta.
Yeah, no, I don't
If
want
you
him
got
next
the
year either.
team, you get him.
D'Lo and
Nope.
Klay, I think if you can move them before like February, hopefully before New Year's, I think you move them. Just because 15 mil, 16 mil for Klay is just too much. And D'Lo, now that you mention it with the player option, that does ring a bell. You don't want him on this team next year. Um, I don't. I want him on the team this year just because he usually plays, you know, a certain way. But he played well tonight. I don't know what you do with Naji Marshall. I'm sure that we would want him to stay more than D'Lo or Klay, but I think he would be more tradable. So like you have
I
to
think teams
look.
would. I think teams would want if I was a smart team, I would be looking and calling the Mavericks and asking what they'd want for Najee Marshall for sure.
Naji Marshall makes less than $10 million a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
trade him.
I wouldn't trade
I
him
think you'll
either,
get. I
but
think you'll get. I think you'll get interest, but I'm not trading him
the point is like
unless you're getting the
PJ,
first.
Naji, Cooper. These are three guys, three wings who you want on the floor. And
True.
with Naji and Coop, you want them with the ball in their hands. With PJ
True.
and Coop, with PJ and Coop, they both can work completely, like they can be extremely effective without the ball in their hands.
Are you telling me the Mavericks roster is imbalanced?
I'm saying that there's a lot of overlap, right? And so you're going to have to sell high on certain guys. So if we don't want
Yeah.
PJ to go, which I don't really want PJ to go, then Naji has to go. Like that.
Some of these guys like fit the next timeline, not the next timeline necessarily, but like the
the
whole
next
like
5 years.
you have to, yeah, this timeline where you don't have the picks, you need to be as competitive as you possibly can. Guys like PJ, Najee, Gafford fit that for me. I'm not saying they're untradeable, and it's frankly anyone fucking untradeable in the NBA anymore. But like, I'm not saying those guys are untradeable
77
at
got
all.
traded, which means everyone is tradable.
So like, I mean, you could probably get, I would think, good offers for all three of those guys if you wanted to. But I'm not saying you should, especially not PJ. Well, PJ can't get traded anyway till the summer. But
Yeah.
Najee and Gafford are guys that I don't know. You have to get. They would have to overpay for me to get rid of them. I would think, because I'm assuming that Anthony Davis is going to get traded. So I want Gafford to be here if Lively's here because unfortunately Lively misses time. So you have to have like a good backup center and Gafford's starting caliber.
Yeah, all the points that you made are great, and that's I mean, we've been making this point all of this short season so far, but Anthony Davis's natural position on this roster and just generally in the modern NBA is probably the 5 because he doesn't shoot. You would have to pair him with a guy who
you
can
think?
shoot the lights out, right? And on this roster, he just is the third. He's the best big, but he makes Daniel Gafford movable. But if these reports are to be taken seriously, and I think that they are, they are going to move Anthony Davis soon. He is one
If
of the
Shams
first.
and if Shams and McMahon said the Mavericks are exploring trade options for AD, they're exploring trade options for Anthony Davis. And honestly, I believe that even more that they're doing that when Mark Cuban made that quote out with the Athletic. That I believed in them scavenging the trade market for Anthony Davis even more after the Cuban quote.
Hey, what are the top 2 Mark Cuban quotes where he's just like out and out lying or like saying something extremely dumb? Like we are
That's
not
a good
we want to
question.
keep AD this season because we want to stay
That's
competitive.
up there for
That's one.
sure.
Um I will retain basketball control.
There's your
That's another one.
there's your top two.
It's just there are so many. I think there would have to be a real debate if we wanted a definitive list. But it's just I feel like we're gonna have to see like lively threes and Gafford threes at some point this
Yes,
season.
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. That's your first good tanking solution so far.
I don't know. I think trading Klay Thompson for somebody who cannot
That's
contribute
interesting
right
you
now
say that
is.
because some people would think that if you keep Clay, you're actually helping your tank.
I can see that on offense, but on defense he isn't horrible. Like he's actually pretty decent at staying in front of guys. Like he's old, but he's able to stay in front of guys very well. And tonight especially he didn't play poorly. Like he was 30% from 3, 5 of 11 from the field. And he hasn't been playing as awfully as he started the season as of late, which is why I'm saying he is. If you get an offer for Klay Thompson and D'Angelo Russell, you have to listen to them. Klay Thompson is making
No,
$16
I'm hanging
million
up on any
dollars.
D'Lo trade call. I'm literally rejecting if they're calling about D'Lo. No, absolutely
I
not.
hope to God you're joking because
Obviously,
please.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you need to keep somebody on this roster that will ensure that the Mavericks lose some games. I don't think with an AD trade, with the possible D'Lo trade, that this team gets worse in the short term. Especially if, and all the reporting really points to this, other than Fazl's point that there are extenuating circumstances that might keep him out. We can theorize on what those are, but at the end of the day, I am willing to bet from all of the reporting around the league that he will return this season at some point and play his way into form. And by that point, the Mavs could actually be playing competitively, and that would be devastating to me. It truly would be devastating to me. When I think about Cooper Flagg and AJ DeBonsa sharing the floor together for 5 years, I'm just like, I salivate. It's like a fresh steak. Just the rosemary, the thyme, just it's beautiful.
Get ready to learn Koa Pete, buddy.
I mean, people are talking about what Neo Avdalas, or
From who? What school?
I forget what school but like the film has been.
Oh, Virginia Tech, the Luca guy.
Yeah, the guy who looks like Luca a little bit. Like
Plays
dude,
like Luca, stylistically.
yeah, his handle looks like that. The way he moves, sure. But if he's
That's
not
the
like
thing. I mean,
he's
look,
not an amazing
the whole
3-point
whatever,
shooter, it doesn't matter.
the whole. I mean, he's not going to be Luca, but regardless, the whole Cooper Flag is going to be sixth the next year's draft thing that was going around the other day. Ridiculous. But next year's class is going to go down as a historic draft class. Like, and it's also like, I know you're talking about the top three, but it really does go like deep. Like, I think a lot of those guys in the top 10, honestly, are like impactful players, really helps your franchise. I don't know if they're, I mean, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, the draft hasn't even happened yet. There's a whole sorts of development and individual team building or team aspects that are going to affect all these guys' paths. But I mean, it's a historically good class. I think if the Mavericks are drafting eighth, for example, like I know you might be disappointed that they're not getting one of those top three guys, but I think they're going to get a really good player in this year's class. If this was a couple years ago in that Zachary Risase draft, then I would be like, what the fuck?
The
Honestly, if
Alexander
it was
Sarr
that
draft.
draft, there's no point. If it was that draft, there's no point, and you got to bring everyone back and just might as well play basketball at that point.
All indications point to 2027 being that type of draft, which is why some of the 80 mocks have shown protected 2026
2027 is better than this year's.
No, 2026 is better than 2027.
I thought you said no. Okay.
No, I'm saying
Yes,
that.
yes.
So like if you can
That is true.
move these guys and get another pick this year, I think that would also be phenomenal just because
For sure.
it'll move you out of second apron hell, which the franchise needs to do that sooner than later. Trading AD will help.
That's got to be like the first order of business for the new GM.
Well, yeah, that's why I am quietly optimistic. Maybe not actually, because I don't know how great Matt Riccardi's scouting associates are. They have made some good decisions. Like Musa looks pretty decent, very good for an undrafted big, I believe. And we've seen guys even before him, like Dorian Finney-Smith, just become mainstays in the league. Although I don't know what he's doing right now. But I just don't know.
Can I say something controversial about Cisse?
Yeah.
Fun story. Undersized to be a center, man. And the foul trouble is ridiculous.
Yeah, and his basketball IQ isn't great. And I'm not sure that that's something that exposure would fix. But I mean, as like a third string big, he's not horrible.
It's not getting to the point where, holy shit, we have Musa Cisse. We have to trade one of these three guys immediately.
I don't think it's ever going to get there. But
I've seen people on Twitter say that.
We're not wasting our time with what these morons on Twitter think, Fossil. No, if you can get 2 first rounders, even if you're drafting like Koa Pete, obviously Richie, formerly of Mavs draft fame, has said glowing things about him. I've seen some film. I would be happy with any of those top 10, like let's say top 8 talents on the Mavericks. Really, the reason why I'm saying you need a top 3, you need a top 5. They raise
that obviously
the ceiling.
changes your franchise for sure.
It's just your ceiling becomes you can contend 5 years from now, which you really will struggle to do with the current assets that you have.
This whole thing about like I want the Mavericks to win as many games as possible. Which if they win as many games as possible at what is it 4-13 or 4-12 after tonight? 4-12, I think.
It's 12.
4-12.
Like this hole is too deep. So to the point like you're not getting anything. Absolute best case scenario you're getting is like 10th seed in the play-in. So you get like a nice invitation to get a broom up your fucking ass from Oklahoma City for 4 games. That was too. I did not mean to go that graphic.
That was way too visceral of a visual.
That was graphic.
Yeah,
sorry, I apologize. That's basically what it would turn into on the basketball court if we played that.
I'm glad you said that because this team should.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
If you're repeating what the result of last season was, you are not going to get as lucky. All probability says that the opposite will happen, just because it is significantly more likely than you hitting both the 1.8% chance and whatever like 5% chance that you have right now.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, but even these teams have been like the Jazz have been tanking for ever since they got ready to go Baron Donovan Mitchell. They haven't gotten. Yeah, I don't even think they've gotten like a top 3 pick in that span.
Which is why if they are towards
obviously,
the bottom, but not like the top 3 worst teams, then they are in peak position because they will inevitably, like, knock on wood again.
Yeah.
If they're in that position, I believe that they are more likely to move up. I haven't done.
It also helps
but they would.
It helps your floor as a draft pick if you're higher up. Your range doesn't go as like if you're the top pick. Let's say you're the Nets. You're the top odds. I don't think you can go lower than like 5. Like your floors are different.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can't end up with like the 11th or 13th pick or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're
like this, but the whole thing, like I don't. That's what makes it weird to be a fan of a team in this type of situation, man. And pro sports incentivizes tanking, or some pro sports does. Like the NBA and the NFL, they incentivize tanking, especially. So it's a weird situation, man. But
Yeah,
I'm not gonna let people look at me like I'm fucking Satan because I'm not that mad if the team loses.
yeah. I mean, I understand why anyone on the team would be like they don't want us to win, but it's not personal. Like it's not that I hate PJ Washington or Najee Marshall or even Anthony. I literally don't hate a single player on this team, even D'Angelo Russell. Okay, like I know that Vinay might disagree with me on this, but
I don't hate it. I don't hate him either.
okay, that's good. I mean, I don't think you do, but I didn't want to speak for you.
Now
Um,
Jay might hate. Jay might hate Anthony.
we
Jay
will.
might hate Anthony Davis. Jay might hate Anthony Davis. That we can't. You know.
I'm not gonna speak for him either, but I actually can see. I can see the vision. Uh, listen, if the Mavericks did not trade away all of this draft capital and then trade Luca, I would not care
Yeah,
about
exactly.
draft
Same.
capital.
Same. I
It's
wouldn't
like
either.
I'm literally more of a Mavs fan than somebody. This is what I believe, and I will never tweet it, but this is actually I will just crash out right now, Lukey. Um, I am more of a Mavs fan than anybody who's like they need to compete as much
Thank
as they
you.
can
Thank
because
you.
in 5 fucking years you will be watching a franchise significantly struggling to get over that middle of the pack hump, right? Not just a play-in team. Maybe they can get in the playoffs. Maybe they can win one round, right? But Chris Paul did not make it. Has he made it to the conference finals his entire fucking career? Chris Paul is a great fucking player. Okay.
Damn, has he?
Like
Did
if
with
he
Oh,
had,
Houston
with the
he
Suns,
did
with
with
the
Houston.
With the Suns,
and the
and
Suns.
Houston.
Oh, and the Suns, yeah. Okay, but that's late in his career. Thinking about his prime, like we're talking about Cooper Flag's prime, it's not easy to get a contending level team around your young generational star. You did it with Luca. You traded away fucking Luca. This team is not built around Cooper Flag. So you need to build a contender around Cooper Flag while he's on his rookie contract. We all agree on that. But thinking about how the Mavs are going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now makes me a smarter and better fan of the Dallas Mavericks than these fucking morons who are tweeting, I love the heart that these guys displayed. Why are you hating on the
Oh
team?
wow.
Like,
Oh wow.
I don't want to like super subtweet people, but like, please stop saying that guys who want them to maximize draft positioning this year are less fans. Like,
I don't know. I don't care how you fan. Like if you want them to win every fucking game, that's cool. I don't care. I just don't want to be. I just like I said earlier. I don't want to be viewed as Satan if I don't. If I'm like, cool. Oh man, they lost. That's damn.
yeah,
I thought Brandon Williams got fouled on that play. Oh
I,
man, they didn't call it.
I agree. Like, I don't want to be deemed a hater just because I know how to build an NBA franchise better
But
than
it's like
Nico
they've
fucking
made it.
Harrison.
They made it such a crazy situation to where this is their only year with the draft pick for the next 5 years. So like it just put that much more importance on this specific draft pick. And it just so happened they got it to a 4-12 hole to start out the season. We might not have even been that high on this year's Mavericks team coming into the season. And no scenario did I see 4-12
None of
after
us did,
16
dude.
games.
None of us did. Even after that first game against Wemby, Vinay was literally like, they're gonna play better. Like they will like be competitive and like
Because I thought Wemby was the best player that's ever touched a ball of any sport
but
after
listen,
that one game.
I didn't think that. Obviously, you watched that in person, so I'll defer to you. I deferred to you on that night, but like they would be lucky to make a Western Conference Finals, and that will
Who?
remain true. The Spurs. Um, I feel like that's fair. But this team did not start out playing really like an NBA team. And as it's gotten better, I think the offense is more often than not going to be pretty bad. Like they're depending on 3-point shooting.
Pretty
and
bad is like a compliment.
honestly, yeah. And that's something that I don't think any of us saw being like so stark in these losses. Just their inability to buy a bucket for long stretches, and trading twos for threes.
I mean, I thought the offense, like, I thought it was going to be like a 20s offense, but I thought it was going to be, I mean, naive of me to think this. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of Coop and AD two-man game. And going off of that, but yeah, I was fucking foolish of me.
That's really one thing that I've realized as the season has gone on is like playing them both together is making both of them worse. I don't know if I'm
Coop
like
and AD together.
yeah, like I think that they can play together, but playing Cooper on the floor means that you have to play AD as a big. And I don't mean that as like you play him at the five. I mean like he's going to be. You would have to have him screening more, and he's not a great screener. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't maximize his skill set. And the more touches that AD gets, like think about who he was in the playoffs all
I
those years
don't
while
I
he was
don't even
keeping the Lakers competitive. He was like a defensive stalwart. He was doing a little bit of everything, and he would bring the momentum offensively. That's what Cooper Flag would do for a competitive team. You know what I mean? And you can have two of
yeah.
those guys on the floor. You just can't have that when one of them shoots 20% from the field.
From the three, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, from three.
how do you guys think this team would look if everyone was hypothetically healthy and on the court? Like, where would you stack them up in the West?
I mean, there have been some surprising teams who have struggled out the gate, like the Clippers and I guess us, but that means you got teams like the Sun that are less proven, like the Suns, for instance, who are, threatening to make the playoffs. And I mean, all credit to them. They have a nice roster, but I do think that a fully healthy Mavs team that sustains health would be better than the Suns we've seen this season. I know that Jalen Green's only played in one game, but still. Um, so I think we'd be right there in like the upper end of the play-in, as in 7, 8, maybe even pushing up to 6, 5. But like, I'm not there. There's a lot of good
Not
teams in the
six,
West.
seven.
I'm not gonna go that far.
Shut the fuck up. Um, yeah, no, I think they can be if they were healthy and they came into the season healthy, and if they continued to be healthy,
Yeah,
I think that they would be a top eight team in the West. And
but not top six.
I just don't think that I don't think that Kyrie Irving solves their offense. I don't think any one guy who's out solves your offense. I don't think AD definitely doesn't. Um, Not having Lively and Gafford on a lot of nights doesn't help. And Kyrie, as great as he
Damn,
is
that is
he's not
sobering
going.
to think about.
I mean, but do think about it. Like they don't have the personnel to compete with
No, I
OKC.
agree with you. It's just like talking about it out loud. They're fully healthy for the most injury-prone team in the NBA that honestly I think has ever been put together in basketball history. They would top out as like a play-in team as seven, 8, 9, 10. They're not cracking the Oklahoma City, Denver, Houston, Lakers. I think the Spurs are for sure better even healthy, but that's maybe debatable. And the Timberwolves, no way. That's just like crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you're
We can't even
touching.
get to like we haven't even seen that product on the court yet, and we can't even I don't know. The ceiling when it even comes together for a short period of time isn't even that high.
Yeah, I mean we've been going.
If we're trying to hang banners, which is the whole point of this thing, is to try
We
to hang banners.
yeah, we've been going on about this since the off season, really, but especially going into the season. I mean, you're not touching the Thunder. You're not touching the T Wolves. I don't think you're competing with the Nuggets when healthy. You might compete in individual games, but I think in a 7 game series they win just because their offense is phenomenal and the Mavericks' offense is garbage.
Nuggets
Um,
defense is really good too this year. Same with
that's
the honestly, those top three teams in the West are just really good on offense and defense.
Yeah, I think the Rockets will be better. Record wise, they might be in the top four, but I would still put them at like five in terms of who I'm scared of. Uh, just going into the playoffs. Like I think in a 7 game series, they're much more beatable than they look in the regular season. But even
See
after that,
that?
like you have you're getting really lucky that teams like Memphis are really failing on the John
Lucky or
Morant front.
unlucky, we need these teams to be better. We need the
Oh, I'm
Grizzlies.
saying for this team hypothetically to be healthy
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
competitive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
You're
the crazy part about the West. Like I think the top teams like the Thunder, Nuggets, Rockets have all kind of lived up to their billing. But in terms of the depth of the West that everyone has was talking about before this year, like Fazil mentioned, like the Clippers, Grizzlies, and Mavericks have all kind of disappointed on their own.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not breaking into the top three, but if this team was competitive, they would be in those seeds right now. Like even the best teams in the regular season have not looked like Jalen Williams is not playing for the Thunder. Like you can win all of these games were winnable if the team was able to win those games. Um, I don't want to I don't want to go on forever about this stuff, but like there is no world in which the roster as constructed just has a 2024 type run to the finals.
No,
right? Like
no.
literally with this start to the season, you would need to have like 17-4 after the All-Star break or something like that to even bring you into the conversation of like, oh, this is a team that could be a dark horse, right? Or like you would have to win 20, like some ridiculous amount of games in a row just to bring yourself into the conversation. Like as of right now, they're out of it, and unfortunately, they might be out of it for multiple seasons if they don't make the right moves and really start building in the right way. Talking about trading AD is one of them. Obviously, he has to get healthy. We've talked about that for months now. But there is a realistic chance that he doesn't get traded until the offseason. But you have to find a way to maximize your draft pick. I refuse to be called a hater because of that. I'm sorry. Like I will never allow myself to be called a hater. I think it might have frozen again. But yes.
The first basketball game,
We're live.
and I was literally saying, "Wow, who did they beat?"
All right, guys. I don't know how much more is really worth saying, but yes, this Mavericks team does not top out as a competitive playoff team, and it would be smart for them to find avenues to maximize their draft capital. I don't care if I'm called a hater, if I'm called a bad fan for wanting this team to lose games. I am more of a Mavericks fan than you, and I don't care how you feel about it. I am not the usual main host of this show. That is Jay Apaji. I'm sure he will be back with us soon. I am Rohan.
No, he won't. We know he won't.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I just realized that. Vinay, Fazil, any final thoughts before we take off?
Take off.
Unlike the Dallas Mavericks this season.
The only thing I have to say that I don't think we discussed is just that Dow Soups Journal, our friend Grant Afseth, his website reported that earlier today, Klay is aware that it's very possible that he gets traded this season. Apparently he's been informed that from the team, or just came to learn that somehow. And that's the only thing that like I'm considering. I guess maybe he might be one of the first guys to go, if anything. So that would be interesting. I do wonder what the team would look like after that, what we could get for him, because I suppose maybe his value is starting to build up. He's had a few hot games. I hope the league has taken notice of that. But still, again, I don't know how much we can get for these guys outside of AD, like these vets. I'd be surprised if we get anything for Caleb Martin on the length of his contract while he's here. Jaden Hardy, he makes significant money.
We have to
and I don't
give
know
up.
what
We
we're
have to
gonna
give
get.
up the naming rights to the next stadium to get rid of Caleb Martin.
Probably.
I
And like
literally
Klay, I do think
forgot
there's
he
a
was on
trade.
this roster tonight. Like
You just
literally
kinda
all
re-
of
I
tonight,
was honestly-
I didn't remember that Caleb Martin existed, let alone that he's getting paid $9 million a year. Naji Marshall and Caleb Martin are being paid the exact same amount of money.
That's fucking pathetic. But yeah, I don't know, like genuinely, what do we expect to get for Klay other than perhaps a salary dump or maybe like a protected second round pick? Because that's not exactly like the Mavs are in a great position to be sellers. I don't think they have a lot of leverage over other teams.
Really, the question is who wants to take on his salary. I'm sure a contender would love to have him, but $16 million is a lot. I don't think the Mavericks are thinking of buying him out at all. I'm sure that there is a trade candidate that would take him. I don't think you need draft capital. I would just want an expiring deal. Really, that's really all I would want. And Obviously, I'm not the GM of the team, but
Damn.
stealth tanking, I'm like, hey, give me a salary dump expiring who will not contribute to winning, but is like an NBA player. Okay, like you don't want to insult
If someone's giving me a good trade, bro, I'm taking the best trade,
Klay
even if it
Thompson
helps us win.
for Matt McClung.
No, 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 no.
That
I
would
don't
be
want that
that would be
fake,
disrespectful.
I don't want that fake Mickey Mouse dunk contest winner on this team.
That'd be the only award that the Mavericks are winning this season, other than maybe Rookie of the Year.
Um, I completely blinked out. I was saying I can't. Clay's shooting 31% from three this year. That's insane. Like insanely bad. Like he was 39 last year. I refuse to believe he's just this bad of a shooter.
And he's been playing way better. His shot selection early on in the season was I just don't know what was happening. I think D'Lo has kind of taken the reins on like, okay, he's gonna take all of the insane shots that you need to take as a shot creator. I think the only thing stopping you from moving him is his contract, because every contender in the league should want him. Like, I'm sure that if he wasn't making $15-16 million a year, the Mavericks would have already moved him, frankly. But that being said, what you just said about him shooting around 40% last year and that being a down year for him, I'm sure he will play better heading into the trade deadline. But if he really if he just has one or two crazy hot shooting games in a short stretch, I can see him being dealt before AD even comes back, honestly. Just because, I mean, he is one of those guys. Like, he does raise the ceiling of a team that already is good. He's just not a floor raiser at this point in his career. So, yeah, I could see him moved. The question is, are these guys going to continue to play well? And if that's the case, I can see Klay being moved. D'Lo is going to be difficult, but who knows? I'm sure that there's like a team that wouldn't mind $5 million, $6 million for D'Angelo Russell. I don't know. Fossil, where do you think this team is going? Yeah, what are your final thoughts before we sign out?
Where do I think this team is going? Nowhere fast. My final thoughts are that I hope the players make peace with losing, but they still understand that they're getting paid good money and that they don't have to get their games off at the expense of Coop. But that's surprisingly harsh for me, I think. But I am a little tired of this whole not giving him the ball thing. I don't know if that's like players freezing him out, like HB and West did to Luca back in the day, or kids scheme, because it has been rather deliberate. Coop has been heating up in the second half in like a lot of these games, but still, I just love to see 4 sustained quarters where he gets to shoot like 20 times in the whole game, just once or twice at least to calm my nerves. That would be great.
Agreed. There's a lot of possible moves that even we really didn't discuss. I mean, you can't trade PJ Washington this season, but that wing glut is something that I think is making that kind of sidelining of Coop, especially on offense, look more deliberate. Although I don't think any of us want to get rid of Naji Marshall. That is something that could happen. Guys, the Mavericks lost tonight, and I kind of hoped that they had won just because they really did play well. But the referees are indeed blind, and they were blind tonight, and they helped the Mavericks tank, which needs
You're not going to tell everyone that you Venmoed the refs before the game?
Legally, I have to say that is a joke. But yeah, the Mavericks lost a close game tonight. I'm sure that they will play a lot more close games, and I hope that they lose more than they win those.
Fuck. Damn it.
Yeah, I know. And I hope to whatever the hell is out there, whatever energy is in the universe, that is in everything, that the Mavericks end up with a top 5 pick in next year's draft, because we deserve it. As a fan base, we deserve it. I don't care about the idiots on Twitter. I don't care about the people that call us haters for being better Mavs fans than them. Okay? I want this team to succeed. If you're gonna say Mavericks fans for life, that means you're thinking about more than just this year, right? You're thinking about your life. So I want my life to be better, and I don't want to be depressed like I was this year. Yeah, go Mavs, but please get a great draft pick. You can subscribe to us if you want more Mavs fan content. I mean, it'll be more organized than it was tonight. I'm not the usual host. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us anywhere that you get your podcasts. We appreciate you sitting with us, giving us your thoughts. And we will be live again very, very soon to talk about another Mavs game.